Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another ranking video. Different this time, I'm ranking all the buffs in the game, not characters or anything. And I did the video with talking about my 10 favorite buffs, but it didn't get as much interest, so I thought people might be more interested in a full ranking of all the buffs, best to worst. So how I'm going to go through one tier at a time, since there's a lot of them, and they're more recognizable, and there's less to talk about for each buff. I can probably just talk about it down the line. But I'll start with F tier and go all the way up to S tier, and they are loosely. I tried my best to rank them best to worst from left to right, but if some were kind of a hard call, it's really hard to kind of compare the effects of these buffs in some instances. So don't be too harsh on me if I got something wrong in your opinion. And it is kind of top heavy. Tiers S through B are way more dense than C through F because there's a lot of good buffs out there. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and let's get started with the F tier. Alright, so in F tier we have health over time, health up, health steal, and accuracy up. And I'm going to try to do my best to say what the icons are, but I don't have all of them memorized. Some of them are kind of obscure. But yeah, these are not very useful. I'm never really happy to get these. Accuracy up, there was a time when it was very valuable during set 4 of Datacrons, but no more. I am never happy to see this. I think it's probably the worst buff, and it's only like 15% accuracy. It's not even that much. Health steal and like health over time, it's just very situational because a lot of times I have them and want to use them. They're getting dispelled before they even like take effect. It's like the turn you get them, it's not really doing anything. It's like you gotta wait till the next turn. But like in a good situation, you don't want to be below full health. So with so much protection in the game and bonus protection, by the time you're getting to just plain health, a lot of times you're like almost dead. So that's why I have these less valuable. Health up is also plus 15% health, and a lot of times it's not actually doing anything if they don't get through your protection at all. So yeah, these are all kind of F tier for me, never quite happy to see them. Moving on to the slightly more useful, we got D tier, and we got 7 buffs here. As protection over time, Jedi lessons, the training droid thing, this is Kyle Katarn's thing, secret intel, evasion up, potency up, and target practice. So none of these are that great. Like with Jedi Lessons, it's just 20% mastery, which if you've seen my mastery series, it's not that big of an impact for most characters. The only way mastery gets out of hand is if it's ramping constantly, so this alone isn't doing much. Protection over time is nicer than heal over time because you lose your protection first, and then it's nicer to get that back. This one is just like 2% offense or something per stack, and it leads to a better buff that Kyle Katarn gets, but it itself is pretty underwhelming. And Secret Intel, it helps you lead to BB-8's Illuminated Destiny or whatever. It itself doesn't do much. It's just like a traveling buff, and it gives some potency. Evasion up, dodge is very much hated in the game by a lot of people at the top level because they had to deal with very high levels of dodge. And it is good because it's both dodge and deflection. But dodge is a threshold thing. It's like either it's doing absolutely nothing or it's doing a lot of something. At 15%, it just doesn't give you a big chance to dodge. So when you have it, it doesn't feel like you're dodging that much. And then potency up. It's 50% potency. It's nothing compared to tenacity up, the counterpart. It's nice to get a little bit of a boost of potency, but it's not a huge game changer. And then target practice. What does this even do? This does 5% critical chance offense and then 10% critical damage per stack. So it's kind of nice, but you need a lot of stacks of it. So it's just kind of top of the D tier for now. Now here comes C tier, and these are kind of useful. They're decent buffs. They're just not dominating. This is the fake taunt thing, and I put it lower because it does some extra benefits for like SWGOH and Mace Windu, but it's based on their kits. The buff itself is just a taunt that gets dispelled when you get hit, so a little less useful. Crit chance up, plus 25% crit chance. It's kind of nice sometimes, but it's a little underwhelming. I mean, sometimes you already have like 100% crit chance, and other times you barely have any, and then it's like, I don't know. It's below Advantage. Advantage is a one-off, but it gives you 100% crit chance. I still think it's not that great of a buff, though. It's great when combined with other synergies, like First Order has a lot of benefits, Supreme Lord Kylo Ren in particular. But it itself is not that impressive on its own. Deep cover. This is unique to skip lander, right? I think it's 10% defense penetration and potency per stack. So it's nice if you get going, if you get a bunch of stacks, but otherwise it's not that impactful with the actual stat boosts. Here's legendary battle meditation. I kind of like to put it higher, but I had to kind of nestle it in the middle of C tier because it's situational. It's only given out by Bastel. It's plus 35% counter chance and potency, doubled for Jedi. So if it's not a Jedi, it's not going to do too much. But with Jedi, it's nice. It's like a potency up, which is a lower tier, and then almost retribution. So it is pretty nice. I don't know, it might be a little low. And crit damage is C tier, and you don't see offense up yet, which means it's higher. Crit damage up is plus 50% crit damage, and you might never get it because you might never crit. They might have crit immunity or a lot of ways to avoid crits, so it's not always that impactful. And then speed up. I still have it. I have it in C tier, even though speed is king. It's kind of rare that you start a battle with speed up. I think Lord of Vader is one of the only ones that has that. But in the middle of the battle, it's hard to notice as much that you have speed up. It's plus 25% speed, which is a good amount, but it's not a huge game changer, which is why I have it kind of low. And then Tactical Genius, or whatever it is Akbar's buff. The first person uses special gets full turn meter and something, which is kind of nice, but it's like, the whole team has it and only one person is getting use out of it. And then defense up, I think, is actually pretty good. I think people would probably think I'm crazy for having defense up over crit damage up and speed up and stuff like that, but it's pretty impactful. I mean, it really does make a difference on your survivability, as we kind of see with Datacron's giving out defense. We're moving on. We got a lot left to go, so I'm going to try to pick up the pace with talking about these guys. These are some Jabba buffs. I forget what they do right now. I'm not going to be bothered to look it up, but they're kind of decent. They add up to something, which gets them into B tier, but maybe they deserve lower. I'm not sure. Xian, all it does is reduce Cat's cooldown for Force Leap, but that is an amazing move. So it does get B tier status, even though I could see it being C tier. Just because it's so limited. These two kind of go hand in hand, taunt and stealth. Stealth can, in effect, cause a taunt, but taunt itself is forcing your hand of where to attack. Usually, it's on someone that you choose to have taunt, and therefore drawing the fire away from the rest of your team. I think it's very valuable. It's not super flashy. Taunt and stealth are just kind of like, I don't know, the catcher in baseball. It's just a thankless job, but these buffs are very important and very strong, so therefore they're in B tier. Two classic buffs here, Retribution and Protection Up. These were in my favorite buffs video because I love the Protection Up that security gives me. I also hate when I'm going against it. And Retribution feels like you're getting tons of extra turns, which is almost like getting 100% speed multiple times if you were someone that could only do basics. But very, very nice. And Jedi Legacy are the one that gives 100% mastery. So it's starting to get a little bit better once you get to that point. So it got to mid B tier. And this is backup plan. This is only Hera's ability with Phoenix. So since it's limited to Phoenix, it doesn't see much applicability. But what it is, it's a free revive with 80% health and 30% turn meter when you're defeated. So it's a nice insurance policy. So that I thought merited getting up in the B tier. And then translation. It's kind of nice. It might deserve higher, but it is still kind of higher B tier. It has a lot of different effects, reducing cooldowns. It's just very situational with like C3PO's kit. But I don't know. Yeah, that might need to be higher. Then offense up, 50% offense, just plain and simple, very strong, very powerful. And the Lando buff, it's like Trusted Agent or something. It's plus 30% defense penetration and offense. So I don't know how much the defense penetration translates to true damage, but it gives you a double tap on the basics. So that edges out offense up there. And Foresight, I almost had this in A tier, but it's a one and done. It gives you pretty much a guaranteed dodge, barring a few exceptions. But it's very valuable. The thing that keeps it back from A tier is the fact that once you dodge once, it's gone. We're starting to get to the creme de la creme, but not quite yet. This is A tier buffs, and they're all very strong. Got tenacity up, which is amazing. It's like 1,000,000% tenacity. Basically, you cannot inflict any debuffs unless they cannot be resisted, or if you have tenacity down to counteract it. So very simple, but very, very powerful. And the mechanic's savvy. It does a couple different things. Plus 40% offense to droids, and then they revive if it's a droid. Scoundrel, it's a little less good. 40% crit damage, 20% crit chance, 40% damage defense penetration. So it's pretty good. I bumped up to A tier just because of the revive thing and the stat boosts, but who knows. Outmaneuver. This used to be just a ship buff, but Hondo has it. Yeah, Hondo. I get Hondo and Holdo mixed up in my mind linguistically, but yeah, Hondo has it. And by the way, I cut out ship buffs just because it was going to be too much. There's a lot extra there. So Outmaneuver, extra evasion, and can't be targeted. So very useful. It's a stealth plus evasion up, but better. And this one here is Dark Infusion. This is Malik's buffs, where it gives you like bonuses based on your stacks. 35% offense per stacks, max up to 3, and it doubles on 3, and then you can get healing immunity on your basics, so that's a very strong. Bounty Hunter's Resolve, ignore taunts, and revive. Very classic, very strong. One of my favorite buffs in that other video. So A tier here. And crit immunity, super useful. Crits are the backbone of high damage teams, so having this buff just really helps avoid a lot of damage there. And the Loyal Hand, the buff on its own, just one stack, isn't like game breaking, but it's 10% max protection and offense up to 20 stacks, so that could be 200% offense and protection. So it could honestly get a little bit higher, but it's pretty crazy. And this is Jedi Knight. This is Kyle Katarn's buff. It's like once he has it, it's like 50% offense and defense to rebel fighter allies. Very, very solid bonus. That's offense up plus defense up. Crazy. And Master's Training, you know, I think a lot of people would probably argue it's S tier because it stays the whole time. But a lot of the bonuses, like I like the offense mainly, and maybe the defense, but it gives 20% offense, defense, accuracy, potency, and tenacity. And 3 of those aren't having too much of an impact at that low of a level. It's doubled for Jedi, but it's used kind of anywhere. On Jedi, it's probably an S tier. Frenzy, 100% turn meter whenever someone else uses a special. This is a crazy buff. Very limited in who has it, but when you get it to stronger characters like Maul, it's crazy. Speaking of Maul, this is not Mandalore. This is Call to Action, but it looks like the Mandalore buff, very similar. Call to Action is Jedi Knight Luke's unique buff, and he ignores taunts, has 50% accuracy, crit chance, crit damage, and it's inherently a locked buff. The fact that it is inherently a locked buff gives it a bit of a boost. Same with Lifeblood. Lifeblood is inherently locked, plus 30% damage overall, and reduce the damage you take by 30%, which is way better than 30% defense. So it's super strong there. And then Repost is the top of A tier for me. It's very limited because Dooku is the only one that really has it, but we saw it, what it could do in Set 2 with good factions in Jedi and Rebels, and it is an insane buff, attacking under protection, straight to health. Overpowered. The only thing is just Dooku has it right now. And now we have finally reached the cream of the crop, the S tier. These are all insane buffs, crazy powerful. All of them are unique buffs, technically, and they just all are just complete game changers. So we got here Jedi's Will or whatever. It's like 50% offense for Jedi, 25% speed, 100% counter chance, just a big bundle of stuff. And it's a locked buff, so it's just very, very nice, very strong. Mandalore, this is unique to the Maul team, and it has your whole team assist you all the time, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of a weird buff to understand because, like, if you kill them all, the other team gets it, but they don't have Mandalorians. It's a weird, like, that's what kind of obscured the whole kit when it got revealed. It's like, what does this do? No one realized it was going to be good, but it's amazing. This is Emperor's Trap, and the buff itself, like one stack, is an impressive 6% offense and potency, but it's the effects with Imperial Troopers. You can stack it to infinity. There's no cap, so you're getting unlimited turn meter, unlimited offense, unlimited potency. Really crazy. It takes time to stack up, and any breach in the turn meter train can ruin it, which is why it's lower in S tier. And then Merciless. This is Darth Vader's buff, and most of the effects of Merciless Massacre are just tied to the ability, not necessarily the buff. But the buff itself gives 50% offense, 25% critical chance, 50% crit damage, and then immune to fear and turn meter manipulation. So it is a very strong buff. If I was counting the whole ability, it might be a little bit higher. Same with High Ground. High Ground it doesn't do too much, and even does some hurtful things. It's 100% counter chance, plus 35% more damage when attacking on turn, but it also means you can't gain ultimate charge and you lose 35% speed. But I'm kind of counting it this high based on what it actually does for the whole team, because JMK, like the whole team, takes less damage while he's in it, and he assists all the time, so it's pretty crazy. And this is Blast Tech Weapon Mod. This would be the single best buff in the game prior to the great nerf of 2021. Yeah, so like it used to ignore defense when someone had it. Now it doesn't. It just gives turn meter and prevents revives, which is still very strong, and it's an inherently locked buff that lasts the whole match, which gives it credit. This is the first of Wat Tambor's buffs, and that just goes to show how great those techs are. And this is Hatred. Hatred used to be limited to just Scion, but now Reva has it too, and we can see how crazy it is. Increases offense and defense by 100%, and crit chance by 25%, and then it's a free revive when they die with 100% turn meter. That is insane. It could probably actually go higher. I don't know. The rest of these buffs are pretty good. Yeah, like this is Watts Med Pack, 5% health and protection recovery anytime any character takes a turn, not just the character itself. So it's healing up constantly, and you get bonus protection if you're a Separatist, but it's barely ever used with Separatists. It might change with Trench, but still very strong. And then this is Beskar Armor, given by the Armorer, and it stacks up to 3 and just gives crazy benefits once you start getting it out. 1 stack is 50% defense and 15% health up. 2 stacks recover 30% protection at the end of your turn. And 3 stacks, 100% counter chance and can't be critically hit. So much stuff baked into one. If you get 3 stacks, absolutely top 5 buff in the game. And then this is a little blurry because the source I got it from didn't have an image of this. I got it from in-game. This is Spark of the Rebellion, and this is one of those overpowered buffs I talked about in my other video that was needed to power up an underpowered faction in Rogue One. It's like a effect salad. Gain 40% offense and 30 speed when this character attacks. Recover 20% max health and protection. Empire enemies defeated by this character can't be revived. Oh, look out. Inquisitors and Reva. If Spark of Rebellion is dispelled, gain 40% turn meter, 5% upload progress, and protection up 50% for 2 turns. So just way too many things. And the same thing with the buff right next to it. We adapt or die. 30% critical chance, 30% offense, 30 speed, revive with 70% health when defeated. If dispelled, recover 80% health, gain 80% turn meter, and can't be critically hit for 2 turns. So those are just insane amounts of effects, very strong. The only way that makes sense is it's limited to crappy characters in Rogue One and on leader non-droid Imperial Troopers, but they're amazing. And yeah, you've been staring at this the whole time, so I'm just catching up to talk about these. Damage immunity, best buff in the game in my opinion. It doesn't hurt that. A lot of times it's locked. And then Bactoid Shield Generator, which is the tank tech from Watt. Second best buff in the game. Automatic cleanse every turn and recover Force Taunt on a tank and recover 30% protection every turn. It doesn't do as much as these two, but it's locked forever and it can apply to anyone. So that is probably why it's second best. And it's kind of a tough call to put damage immunity the best, but it literally just means you can't take any damage. The only way to get around it is to dispel it, but when it's locked, you have to wait for it to go away, or you can do an insta-kill, which doesn't always work, and it's very few characters that can do it. That's it. Those are all the land or just character buffs in the game. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about each and every buff for 20 minutes or so. Hopefully I didn't talk too long, but I hope you liked seeing all the buffs in one spot. Let me know if you like this type of video, if you want me to rank all the debuffs or something else that's off the wall and not commonly done. But I did enjoy it, and I hope you did too. Thanks for watching. See you later.